We'd like to welcome you to the Conscious Crew podcast. I'm DJ Marty McFly, and today we've got a few special guests. To my right, we've got James. On my left, we've got Cyndi, and of course, Midwest Matthew down there on the end. I'm going to start by letting them introduce themselves. James, you want to go ahead and start? I'm sorry, ladies first. Ladies first. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Cyndi.
First. Okay. I'm Cyndi Collins, and I am in this podcast because I really enjoy what Conscious Crew is doing, and I'd like to talk about some things today that have to do with spirituality. I'm a Reiki level 2 person. And
Practitioner, right?
Practitioner, yes.
Okay.
And I enjoy studying spirituality, astrology, and many other topics that have to do with the collective unconscious and just moving us forward as a society.
Awesome. Jane?
Yep. So my name's James, and I'm really excited to be here. And thank you so much, Marty, for inviting me on. Something I've been wanting to do a long time, to kind of bring up these conscious topics. It's been a huge impact on my life, so much so that I went from a couple years ago not really knowing much about any of this to now being also a Reiki master in Kundalini Reiki, and then on my level 2 practitioner in the Sui Reiki, which is basically just energy work, and as well as many other wonderful conscious topics. And I now have a new business, Center Me, out in West Des Moines. Definitely come check us out. We got all kinds of fantastic holistic therapies, and I just wanted to basically bring myself forward, bring our space forward, and anything that we can do to kind of help uplift that consciousness. And anybody that's moving through that process or has any curiosity about kind of that shift of energy that I'm pretty sure everybody's feeling on some level. So we're here to kind of help open that up and maybe provide some guidance and answers. So
Awesome.
Thanks.
Awesome. Perfect. So then Matt, we got Matt down here again, coming through.
Midwest Matthew, do video, music, photos, everything. So if anybody has any type of stuff they want to work on, collaborate on, just go ahead and hit me up. Midwest Matthew on pretty much everything.
Awesome. So yesterday we were out at Center Me for their grand opening with James, and really enjoyed the space, and got a good turnout yesterday. People coming through, and I played some music, did some DJing out there, and it was really good energy. And so how'd you feel about your grand opening yesterday out there?
It's fantastic, man. I mean, I feel super blessed to just have this space and to be able to be open enough to step into something so I don't know, it feels so big, and just I'm a part of something that's really opening up. Des Moines, is waking up, and there's all these businesses, not just ours. There's many that are opening up here, and I get to be kind of like this vessel that I can, kind of help to, just answer some stuff and learn myself. I mean, I'm learning through other people. I'm learning as I go through an experience, but I get to finally share all of this. I've spent the last couple of years, and I had a big wake up process that just opened me up to so much knowledge, and I started recognizing pretty quickly that there was a need for all this out there, and that I have been allowed to kind of bring in this information. Download is a term that's used a lot, so that I can share this, and I've been just feeling like I've been filling up with information and knowledge and consciousness. And one of the things that happens when you kind of raise to this level is that you want to bring as many people with you as you can. And like Cyndi said, it's about spirituality. It's not really about anything else other than just kind of a universal consciousness where we can all kind of raise ourselves up to a more positive, compassionate, and loving society. So I think it's really amazing to be able to do this. And Center Me was really great yesterday. We had a lot of great people come in. I met a lot of wonderful
Definitely.
souls, and
Right.
We got in some really great talks, and that in itself was so awesome. I love to just sit in a round table and just, kind of like what we're going to be doing today, and just really, have a deep conversation, something that's really meaningful. There's so much out there right now that is just a distraction.
Right.
It's useless. There's useless information meant to kind of subdue and suppress what is happening and what's really going on. I want truth. I'm a truth seeker, and I didn't even realize this until a couple years ago,
And for me, it's like the world weighs on you so much. Sometimes it's good to get these holistic spiritual healings and meditation, whatever you want to call it, just so you can kind of get some of that stuff that's been weighing you down throughout life, through TV, through all the negative energies or attitudes, whatever you want to call them,
Right.
and just get that all off you and kind of get yourself recentered. And that's the thing that I like about Center Me. I actually was in last week with James and got a Reiki and sound healing. Maybe you could tell us a little about the healing frequencies and how that works, because for some people they may not know how the chakras work. And you can probably speak on this too. So, What are the chakras? What are these sound healing frequencies, and what are the center points for Reiki and those things? Maybe you can start by telling us a little bit about some of that.
Yeah. Okay. So everything is energy. Everything has an energy frequency, and it's science. We're all made up out of atoms, and basically, that includes our physical body as well as our spirit inside and our personality. And what Reiki does and what energy work does is really help balance that energy. If we're taking on too much in our day, or if we're just really drained and a lot's going on, if we've been struggling with depression or mental illness, anything like that, the way that we see it kind of in a holistic health community is that there's healing that needs to be done on not only a root level, but a spiritual level and an energetic level. So what energy healing kind of does, as well as sound healing, is we go in and we use universal life energy, and just use ourselves as a vessel kind of to help balance out that energy. And I'm not sure if I'm explaining it correctly in a way that everybody can understand. If you want to kind of elaborate more on that.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're absolutely right. So everything is energy. One of my favorite quotes, it's on our website, I'm going to find a space for it in our store, is a Tesla quote. And I may not be quoting this word for word, but basically if you want to understand the universe, you got to think in terms of frequency, energy, and vibration. And what that means is, like you said, like everything is made up of energy. This is a proven scientific fact. It's all vibrating. It's all, we know when we learned in school about the atoms and electrons and neutrons, right? That these things are all moving in vibration and are in vibration. The table is vibrating at a specific frequency, which creates the solid state that it's in right now. And we are also in that. And there are many different ways that they've kind of tested this out with this energy and this vibration. Now, when we're getting into the energy healing, the connection to this energy, there's intention behind that, which has to do with consciousness, and basically what we're doing, like you said, like there are imbalances in our energy centers. So yes, exactly. Yeah. So one of the things that kind of helps with this understanding is getting into the chakra systems. So with most practices, you're going to have 7 main chakras. And you can start with the root, which is your lower chakra, starts at the base of the spine. The root chakra has to do with foundation, grounding. This is stability, this is family, this is finances, the things that make you feel really secure and safe in your physical state. Then you go up from there to your sacral chakra, which is that is around like your sexual center. It all has to do with your sexuality, but it also has to do with creativity, has to do with how you enjoy and celebrate the things that the pleasures in life in general. Anything you're doing that helps to kind of enhance that. Then you move up from there to your solar plexus. This is more in that like gut area, and this has a lot to do with that kind of standing in your own strength. With a lot of people, if it's imbalanced, they may not know when to say no. They're giving themselves up.
Trust your gut.
Right, trust your gut. It comes in. They've come around to saying that there is like a brain in your gut, right?
Yeah.
That speaks
feeling.
to you, gut
Got
feeling.
that gut feeling.
Exactly. You move up from there to your heart chakra. I think that kind of speaks for itself. It has to do with love, relationship, connection to that. And a lot of us become very blocked in there, right? Through a series of relationships that may fail or whatever, we lose trust and whatnot. And the first thing we do is we shut that off. And then the next step in that is moving up to your throat chakra. This is speaking your truth. This is also creativity, receptiveness. And then you move up from there into your third eye. And this is intuition. This is kind of where a lot of those like psychic gifts that would come from. But I like to use the term intuition because it's really intuitive. The things you just connect to naturally. When something comes to you, you're like, I don't know why, I just got this feeling. And you trust it. So when that's shut off, you're not listening or trusting that intuition that's coming to you. You move up into that crown. This is your crown chakra, and the crown that's that universal energy. That's your universal connection to what is referred to a lot of times as your higher source, but it's also that divine guidance, and that comes through. Now, when you look at these, the way these flow, they're going to flow from the ground. Typically, it's explained how it flows from the ground in through the heart and all the way up, but it also flows through the top. What's interesting is they all meet at the heart center. And why this is important is as you get in and as you start to balance and get these energies working properly, the first thing you're going to feel is peaceful. You're not going to be defensive. You're going to find yourself really opened up, and you're trusting your guidance, you're trusting yourself. But getting into that heart center is really important because as we become more heart centered, as we begin to lead more with love, then your guidance is you don't have to ask questions. Is this the right thing to do? You know it is. Because you trust, you feel it, and that's what we're trying to get into, and that's what energy work does, is help to really open up, balance out those chakras, allow you time to think more clearly, to disconnect from the stress that you're constantly being pulled in, and what is happening here, and this is what's really important to connect all this kind of into, and how you can empower your life, is these energies. So your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. So as you become imbalanced in one of these centers, it is going to be reflected in some way in your outer world. You are creating that life that you want, that you're living through these energy centers. So whatever that might look like. So if you're, you can, in some of them, you're going to find that you're, distrustful or whatnot. You find, that you feel when you're for example, we'll say your root chakra is imbalanced, right? So you don't feel secure where you're at. Your finances are all messed up. You're not trusting in the family center that you have around, and you don't feel safe where you're at. Those are the things you begin to experience. Well, then what happens in our universal energies is you begin to get support to feel that way. Meaning that you're going to have more challenges and things to come up that are going to support that feeling that you have.
Or you even meet people who can trigger that in you sometimes, to trigger those parts of you that need healing. If you are somebody who's really craving security, the universe will kind of bring events to you. Like, I know that I was working on my root chakra when my house kind of flooded. And I was like, okay, there goes like my sense of security and grounding, and I know right now that like I need to work on healing that, because like it really pulled the rug out from underneath my foot. And it's not just, a natural disaster. It can be somebody leaving you who was like a huge support system, and then it starts to trigger healing from your childhood, where maybe you weren't able to develop like all of that root chakra type stability that you need. And even though it's at a lower frequency, you start healing it with energy work, and you can have to keep healing it. It's not like one time you go do Reiki and you're completely healed. It's something else can come up and your root chakra can become unbalanced, or your sacral chakra. And it's constant work.
It's a maintenance.
It's a practice. You can't just do it once. One time does help, but maybe a few months later, something else kind of has an imbalance, and you need a different type of energy work, or something else is triggered that you didn't heal as you were a younger adult, possibly.
Sure.
I think it is a constant maintenance, but I will say it gets better because as you raise your awareness to these imbalances, the practices become simpler, you make the connections easier, you're more in tune with your own body and your own energy, that you're able to really get in and hone in on what it is that's going on. Plus, when challenges come forward, you stop being defensive about that. You're able to face it and be like, okay, what is this really teaching me? What's going on in my life that makes me feel this way versus immediately being reactive to that?
Right.
You
do learn to start to handle things. It teaches you how
Yes.
to handle the situations.
Well, and meditation's important on that. What meditation does is it shuts off that left brain, that intellectual ego side of us that's always trying to tell us and protect us on what to do, which it is there to protect us, but we are so left brain right now that we use that as a guidance, and really our that's not the true guidance. You get in, you connect, and start getting into a little bit of that emotional side. Start connecting to what it feels like, right? Not trying to over-intellectualize everything that happens to you, and that's where you become defensive, right? So we find that, you carry this around with you, right? And you're not addressing. That's why, like we're saying with the Reiki, that energy becomes like stagnant, right? You're sitting around with it. So then somebody comes up to you and, like you say, you're being tested, right? So then it comes to you and then you have this automatic reaction to everything that's going on. And most of the time it's defensive, But when you're kind of more aware of that and you're doing these just simple practices, kind of disconnect and balance out a little bit, then you become aware and you're like, okay, hold on, I'm not going to react the same way I always react. Okay, what is this telling me that I need to do? Oh, okay, I understand. Or maybe it's just I'm recognizing that my relationships in some way are reactive to this, right? Which I always come back to self-love. I feel like self-love is where most of that defensiveness comes in. In some way, you are protecting yourself because you are so you feel like you're lacking in some way within yourself. The deeper the more healed you become in self-love, the less reactive you are, because it's not about what they're doing as a way to attack you or any way. You don't feel defensive. You just become aware, and you start to make a connection to everybody that you're interacting with too. You start recognizing, hey, you're human too. This is probably something that you're dealing with. This isn't about me. Whatever's happening, this isn't my issue. And that's okay. Yeah. I respect that. I'm just gonna send love to this. Right, because now you're leading from your heart center, and love, man, that vibration, that's the highest vibration, one of the highest vibrations we can hold, and that in itself is healing.
Right.
So.
Spot on. He's got it.
I mean, I can go on forever, I feel like, on that, but.
All right. Cool, man. So, when I took that Reiki session and experienced that, I just felt real relaxed. It's almost like you're in a meditation when you're doing that Reiki and sound healing and we kind of spoke about the frequencies, but it's like what is it? I don't even know. It's 432 or something like that. It's something to do with opening those centers as well. Is hitting those certain frequencies and with the forks and all that. The tuning forks.
Well, I have a question, James.
Yeah.
I was kind of starting to get to this when I was saying how the root chakra has a lower frequency.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever use binaural beats?
Yeah,
that's
actually.
Kind of a form of sound healing, and I try to match it. Like if I'm working on my root chakra, for example, I'll go to YouTube and type in binaural beats at the lowest root chakra, get it at the lowest frequency, and kind of move up to do some energy work at home. How do you feel about binaural beats?
I love them actually. So, kind of to get onto what is this vibration when we're saying frequencies, what does that mean, and I wouldn't necessarily say that the root chakra is a lower vibration. It's a different frequency, I would kind of say.
The number is lower.
What that means is there there's a vibration and and a sound that's related to each of those centers, and 432, I mean that is like a frequency that's used as like a love frequency, and it can, there's a lot of different there's others that can kind of reside within that are very healing. If you get on YouTube, there's all kinds of, you can just put in chakra healing music or whatever, and they're gonna pull up different binaural beats and frequencies and stuff, and you can kind of dive into a lot of that. with like the bowls, they're usually attuned to a certain frequency, but they also have a note that's associated with that is in relationship to each of those chakras. Now, recently, one of our coworkers, Claudia Morales, she's phenomenally connected to all this stuff too, and she mentioned and made a good point that the way you might hear that frequency and note might be a little different than the way I hear and connect to that, and that probably has a lot to do with how we're imbalanced in that. But
That's super interesting.
yeah, and that's.
Do you think that the bowls and the binaural beats are the same level of effectiveness? Like, or are the bowls, because they're in person and right next to your ear, is that like more of an effective thing than using binaural beats through your headphones?
I think it's all effective, and it's all in intention. It's all in where you're at with that. As a practitioner, even using that, like, my energy and frequency, I feel, is also affecting the tools that we're using. So if I'm using a bowl, I'm putting an intention within this bowl, and that's allowing me to help maybe even enhance what's happening with this bowl. So say, for instance, I use one that is attuned to a heart chakra. That's my favorite one to work with. I love working in the heart because, like I said, I feel everything comes through that. And as a side note, the heart is the first organ that is created when we are in the womb. When we're coming together as a physical being. The heart's the first one to put together.
First flicker, right?
Yeah. Well, it's the first organ that's actually created. I don't know if I'm using the right term, but
right.
But as that comes together, so I do like the heart. So, but if I'm using a heart and I say, okay, my intention in using this is to help find balance, help this person to release what is they're ready to release at this time. And I say that more specifically because it's not up to me to decide what you are ready to heal. It's really up to you, and you may not know what it is, but on a higher level, on a consciousness level, and even on a super consciousness, right, on a spiritual level, you know what you need to release, what you've been holding on to for too long, and it's not serving you anymore. Mm-hmm. These are the things that are important for us to really get connected to is, be aware of what I'm thinking. Hey, what do I want? If I want good stuff in my life, then I begin to say, first of all, I'm deserving to have those things.
Yeah,
so that already
absolutely.
raises my vibration to say, all right, I'm willing and I'm ready to receive because I know that I deserve this. And every single person on this planet is deserving of this. It is your, you can say your birthright, but it's what you were created for. A statement that comes through a lot is that we are a spark of that divine energy. What does that mean? So when everything's created in the universe and there was this big, we'll call it a big bang, whatever you want to refer to it as, that big divine energy fractaled out, into a different pieces of itself to experience the universe in a lot of different ways, this universe that was created. And part of us being that, a part of that divine creation is we are also divine creators, which is why we are able to create our universe, connect to those energies, that universal energy. And there's nothing shut off from us, that we're allowed to have anything and everything that is in the universe. And something that has to shift in our minds that has been blocked from us is that there isn't enough. It is an unlimited universe. There is an unlimited universal energy that we have unlimited access to, which makes us unlimited beings.
And so many people are stuck in lack, I
yes.
think, in what you're saying. And that when we can start to release like those limiting beliefs, those beliefs that there isn't enough money, there isn't enough food, there isn't enough to go around so that everybody can live comfortably. Those are some limiting beliefs that we have when we try to go out in the world and get what we want, including happiness and fulfillment and self-love. There isn't going to be enough. And when we start releasing those blocks that we have, we can really start to be intentional in creating our future and believing that we deserve it. Like he was kind of saying, a lot of people feel sad right now and they try to go out and follow their dreams, but what's holding them back is like a deep belief inside of them that they really don't deserve what they're going after. Like maybe they're carrying some shame, some guilt. An energy work helps release some of these limiting beliefs, well, helps you trigger your own healing process, I would say, to start releasing some of these limiting beliefs so that you can go out there and really live your best life.
Yep.
Like, really, it's not like just about treating yourself or whatever, but really living your best life is, do you feel full? Are you allowing yourself to feel full, or do you always feel like you're lacking something? Do you appreciate? Do you look around, even in this room, and say, oh my gosh, I'm here with these amazing people, or are you wishing you were with different people? It's just kind of like, do you appreciate your life?
Well, thank you, Cyndi.
Yeah, I feel very blessed to be here this morning.
It is all
We're glad
about
to have you. This
perception.
is awesome.
It is. It's all about perception. What do I perceive in my life? So let's tie this into the law of attraction. This is a great way to kind of tie this
Segue.
in.
Absolutely.
Right?
I felt like I was
Sorry.
kind of...
Right, which is where we're going. So what is the law of attraction? Now, the basic understanding of the law of attraction is that, again, and it kind of ties in a little bit into quantum mechanics, and I'll try to keep this kind of as simple as I can. And basically what this says is that I'm holding an energy, right? We're a vibrational being. Now, depending on that energy that I hold, whether it's positive or a lower, more negative state of mind, or whatever you're focusing on, like the blessings and feeling gratitude and that, or whether I'm in the opposition of that. Whatever that is, that's a vibration that I now carry. And in my life, I will now be supported in whatever that is. A funny kind of statement that I had learned through some of the stuff that I've watched is, the universe is very supportive of you. It's so supportive that it'll support you in whatever it is that you decide to carry. Now, if I choose to carry lack and I choose to focus on all this negative stuff, and I see only bad stuff happen in the world, and I say this world is really messed up, and this is right, well, then you're going to continue to see those things and continue to find support in that way of thought, in that way of feeling. It's going to say, all right, well, we're going to keep giving you this stuff because that's what you want. That's what you're focused on.
Feeding off of,
right. But
there's a
now,
lot of people living in that.
Exactly.
There are
Exactly.
so many people who don't know how to live and think any other way. And I think that's where like affirmations and things like that really come in, because you have to start changing your thought process. You can't, you can't just tell people, oh, think positively or whatever. It doesn't work like that. It works with, it starts with gratitude. It starts with saying,
Being
hey,
thankful,
I
right?
have this dream over here, and I'm like down here right now, and maybe that sucks, but it's not even about saying it could be worse, but it's about being happy and grateful to be where you're at right here, knowing that you have a vision for the future, without like hating where you're at. Because when you start to hate where you're at, like you said, you're bringing more hate. You're so down and out that you're missing opportunities. And I've been there 1,000 times where I've had people, bring me opportunities, but I'm like, I don't want to, I don't feel like it. I'm like having a bad day, I don't want to go outside, it's all rainy and stuff. But if I was like, yes, this is my day, I would have taken that opportunity.
You choose how you start that day,
Absolutely.
no matter what it is. And then just kind of tie this back into like that quantum idea. So what we understand, one of the things that we know that has been studied is that our thoughts are energy as well. So they've measured that when you think something, that creates energy. Right. Now our emotions create an electromagnetic energy.
It's like a radio
also
wave.
energy.
So like you can't see it, but it's there. Although you can't see it, it's still there.
So then what that means is when I'm thinking something and how I feel when I think that, I'm now sending out an electromagnetic signal. Now into the quantum system, it says that there's a quantum field just waiting. It's quantum energy just sitting there. It's open, and it's waiting for a conscious connection to bring forth what it needs to bring forth. So now if you think, the way I think and the way I feel is now sent out into this field, and then that is now bringing forth the life that I want or feel that I deserve.
Would you say that's allowing?
It is, I
Like,
think...
in the terminology of law of attraction, there's like a step that's allowing. So when you allow yourself to receive, like getting out of your own way, allowing yourself to receive that energy.
Oh yeah, a space of receptiveness is necessary, yes. And that's what allows you to receive more. But it's going to happen regardless of whether you're aware of that or not. And I'll give you an example of how this works with my own personal experience. So part of my awakening process, where I was right before what I call my conscious awakening. So I was in a state of lack. I lived in that for a long time. So in my life, in this state of lack, I was in a really kind of dark depression. I felt so much lack that I kept getting more and more of that. I didn't have money. I was struggling with, some other situations with like my daughter. I wasn't seeing my daughter a lot, and that was hurtful. I lacked a lot of self-love, and I also, I was living in a space that was a shared space, which was, my roommate's fine. I liked the guy I lived with, but it was still a shared space, and I wanted more. I had a car that wasn't working or running well. I had a job I didn't really like. All of these things, right? So I continued to focus on those things, and for a long time, I just kept getting more and more support for that. And through what I went through is I basically started with guided sleep meditation. Didn't know how to meditate. I was curious about this. I put some YouTube videos on guided sleep meditation. Allowed that to kind of help me. I figured, when I go to sleep, that's going to be the most relaxed I can be. And a couple of days of that, I started kind of, feeling a little better. But then that kind of, my ego was kind of stepping in a little bit because they're painting these pretty pictures, the beach, whatever it is. And I'm like, man, I'm not seeing any of this. Like, I'm overthinking the process. And then so I was like, all right. In my mind, I kind of got the idea of chakras. I've heard of chakras. It's something to do with energy. Not really connecting at the time what that really was, and so I looked up chakra balancing, sleep meditation. So I put that on. I let that play for a little bit. Again, it's all about vibration and frequency. So really, after a few days of that, I woke up one day, and I felt happy. And I can remember this feeling so profoundly because I was in such deep depression and lower vibrational energy that when I woke up, I felt lighter. I felt so happy. I thought, man, I can't remember the last time I woke up and felt happy. And in that moment, my life began to change because I let go of all of this energy and this focus and this vibrational, misguided sense of lack. And so I continued to do like just some simple meditations focused around like even chakras because that seemed to be working. And one thing that immediately came to me is that I was carrying around not only my own negative energy, but I was carrying around anybody and everybody I've ever been in contact with and whatever they were dealing with too. And when I uplifted that, I was like, wow, I feel really like I'm motivated. Like I start feeling happy. And now my focus is immediately shifted from a sense of lack and self-love to a connection to a universal love, and that there's something greater than me, and I grew up in a religious background, but I never felt as a religious person. I've connected to spirituality on some level, not knowing really what that was, and this opened me up. And now my focus has shifted. My perception, I started to work on it. I did mirror work. I did journals. I put intention like I need to let this go. I want to bring in happiness. I want to focus on, what? I am deserving. I started to feel those affirmations like you said. And now my world shifted. And in 1 year I had my own place, a new car, and shortly after that my daughter's living with me full time. And I had a better job, and that was guiding me. And within 2.5 years I now have a business that's all focused around this conscious, system, this consciousness that we are all connected within. And I mean, in such a short time, what that means is that I manifested all of this all based around what energy I had, all around changing my perception, shifting into a sense of love and deserving.
So getting all this stuff off you, that's one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Doing your own healing processes, getting in places and positions where you can heal yourself, and then asking, seeking to receive these things that are important to you, and having that intention, I would say. And then what else would it be? Then also just
it's first of all, it's taking responsibility for that energy.
Right.
I'm the one in charge of this life.
Right.
Like
nobody else
is causing you to feel the way that you feel.
That's
giving
and
you
that
power
is
away.
huge. Like
a
so
lot of
many people will be like, oh,
I
my
was stuck
ex
on that.
hurt me, and now I can't continue on. I'm sorry, I sound not compassionate, but what I'm saying is you choose your feelings. Like things do hurt, but you choose, are you going to keep carrying it with you, or are you going to heal it and let it go at some point?
Sure.
And it's just...
You're giving your power away, is what you're doing.
Yeah,
your
absolutely.
energy it's up to you on how you choose. Just like
And
you
I've
choose
been there,
who
not
your
trying to
friends
judge
are,
anyone.
you choose it. right? So if you have somebody that's draining on you around you all the time, you're making a choice right now to continue to carry that energy, right? You're making a choice that that's going to be a part of your life. And I get it. Some people we're really close to with those friends, and you can do your best to help them feel positive, but if they never choose to do that, right, then at some point you make a choice is what kind of life am I going to live with this? Is this person important enough for me to always have that? Now, we have family and really close friends that are probably always going to be there, and maybe it is our job to uplift them in some way, to shine that light, but you become more empowered in a sense to say that they no longer affect me in that way. I might limit, first of all, how often I am around that energy, but also no longer do they have the power to drain on me. You know what? I just respect that that's their issue. Right. Whatever it is, they can't project that on me. Even there's a simple practice when that happens, like, you walk away sometimes from conversations, you're like, man, that was too much, man. I don't know what it is, but I'm just feeling that, whatever that was or whatever they're feeling. And you can just, brush yourself off, man. And say, all right, I'm just letting this go because that doesn't belong to me. And I walk away feeling okay.
Yeah, limiting that exposure, I think, is sometimes where it kind of gets to.
It does get hard, though, when you are responsible for other people.
True.
Like, especially if you do feel a deep personal responsibility to your family members and you're close, like if you're a loyal friend, you really get stuck with feeling like you should be there for other people no matter what. I would just say to set boundaries and always make sure that, like, you are also full before you go out trying to save everybody in the world.
Right, we can't control anyone else. Right.
Send them love, man. Whoever it is, I don't care who it is. If this is somebody who's affected you to the point that you feel this,
send them love.
Send them love. Energy. Whatever it is. Love is healing. And if you want more love in your life, you want to know the best way to get it? Put more of it out there. The more you send it out there, the more room you have to receive. And the universe, again, what is it going to do? It's going to support you in that. Send that love out. It doesn't, I've got, there's people in my life that who are always going to be in some way a connection to me in this lifetime. And they cause me, trouble. But I'm just going to send them love. You know what? Give them love. Whatever it is that they need, I hope that they find, send them some kind of, a sense of self-worth and self-love and help them to heal. That in itself, and that's funny because that's just a simple intention, man. But what that also does is that releases me from anything else and they aren't now creating a thought in my mind that is creating my reality. I'm choosing to put something different in there. Their negativity does not affect me. In fact, it helps me because now I am finding another way that I can send out a sense of healing to somebody else.
And like making that conscious choice, choice, like I'm choosing to send love to this person, I'm choosing to help this person. That way we aren't getting stuck in the victim role, like, oh, this person's always taking. Actually, no, we're choosing to give every time that we give. Nobody's taking anything from us. We are always making a choice to give. And that has a lot to do with, like, keeping your power. Right. What do you think about all this?
Yeah, I know, right?
It's all Matt's mind over there. We're going to have a segment called Matt's Mind. The Matthew Mind.
It's all a lot. Like, I haven't heard of, it's Reiki, right? Or Reiki?
Reiki, yeah.
Reiki. So I haven't heard of that before. So, I don't know. It's just a lot of different stuff. So, what was the thing? What did you just say? There was something I was going to respond to on that, and I lost it.
About that we're always making a choice to give. Like, nobody's taking anything from us.
I don't know where you want me to start, but so
go ahead.
Wherever you feel,
with the taking, I mean, some people, you shouldn't be around some people if some people just have a taking nature. So, and if you keep giving and then you're not receiving, sometimes you may just have to, like you were saying, limit your time with certain people. So, if they want you to, I don't know, spend on whatever, you just might not want to do it as much if it's affecting you a certain way. And then another thing, like what you guys were talking about with the different energies, one thing that I've heard is that when people talk about like ghosts or demons and all that type of stuff, I heard in the spiritual realm, those energies do exist, or those, whatever you want to call them. And the reason some of this stuff pops up is because they feed off of that energy. So when you go through something and then you have that type of reaction, and you're like, oh, now I'm pissed off for the rest of the day. That's actually like a dinner for them,
Invites.
Like a parasite?
Exactly.
Yeah, kind of like a parasite.
Yeah.
So, and then they could also work through other people. So it's kind of like when you...
They're feeding on the energy.
Yeah, and your ego kind of I want to say your ego is what they utilize. So like they can kind of send messages. So like, oh, you shouldn't let them talk to you like that or whatever. So now you get pissed off, like, yeah, I shouldn't let them talk to me like that. You know, then you start getting pissed off, and then that energy is actually getting fed in the other spiritual realm or whatever. But then also, when you guys were talking, so like I've looked at some symbology videos and stuff, so you can see this a lot in different movies. There's that new movie, The Key and Peele, the one where they're wearing like red suits and they had like the scissors. I don't know, whatever that. Them or us or something. Us.
Yeah.
So on Us, me personally, I thought, I don't know if you guys seen that movie, but
have you guys seen it?
Mm-mm.
I haven't seen
Oh,
it yet.
it's so
I have to check it out.
Like,
But go ahead, yeah,
Good.
go ahead, talk about it.
Yeah,
So
I'm sure a lot of people have seen it. It's a new movie, so.
yeah, so the root chakra, that's like a red color, red and orange. So when you
Red,
watch the movie, I don't know if you saw this, but like in my opinion, there's like a lot of different symbolism. So you had the bad people or whatever, which was just a mirror of the people on the top. So like we're living here, we're all wearing like regular clothes. There was a mirror image of, let's say, all of us, and they were like in this other realm. And so you have to take a subway to go down to get to these people, and they're all wearing red suits. But then they're like real animalistic, and they would just eat on rabbits and
that
stuff
is
like
so root chakra.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
that's
those
like
people.
symbol. Yes,
Mhm.
I never thought of it. This is fascinating.
Oh yeah, so yeah, I just watched like the little conspiracy videos and stuff. So then you start seeing like different symbols
Oh,
in
yeah.
the movies. And
Oh, there's a
a
lot.
of it in movies, yeah.
A lot.
Music videos and all that. So
A whole lot.
these people came up, they started killing everybody on the top, and it was a mirror image of them. And I don't know, there's more to it. I haven't seen the movie in a while, but I'm sure somebody probably broke this down on YouTube with the different chakras and energy and whatnot. Another good movie is Revolver. That one, it breaks down like the ego. Revolver has Jason Statham and Andre 3000 in it. And pretty much they, Andre 3000 helps Jason Statham break through his ego. So his ego is more fear-based, and he's like, oh, I don't want to ride on this elevator, blah, blah, blah. By the end of the movie, he gives up all of his money. He gives up, or he bows down to this, to the mob boss or whatever, and it just shows like his ego getting broken down. And so he just becomes kind of like into God consciousness. So like his crown chakra pretty much gets activated. So that's another good one. And lastly, with the different energies, anybody that doesn't know too much about it, you could look up Dr. Emoto on. If you probably seen that though. But
Wait, this is what we were talking about with the water.
yep. So
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
That's a good
crystal
one.
light,
Yeah.
The
yeah.
crystal, okay.
Yep,
Right.
you put water, you could do this at home, you put like rice in the water. It's a whole thing. Just look up Dr. Emoto on YouTube. But pretty much they just label different water with different words. So they'll put up like, I hate you on one water bottle, put up I love you on the other one. Every time they see that energy's going into that water bottle, then they saw the effect of it, which proved that your thoughts were sending out energy, you know. And if we're made up of
Yeah.
water, then that can affect other people, you know, when you come into contact with them,
I-
depending on what you're thinking.
I would expand on that experiment a little bit too. So basically what he was doing, like you said, is he's taking these water and he's labeling it, but they're also projecting that specific thought or that specific, emotion into that water.
Mhm.
So whether it's love, peace, hope, and then also they did, hate and fear. And what they were doing is they focused that energy into that water. Then he would freeze this water and look at this, through these water crystals. And depending on what that energy was, it came up with a very specific shape and design. And every one of them was different. Every one of them.
Yeah.
So when you got into those higher vibrational frequencies and the more positive energy, which was like the love and the compassion, you saw a very specific geometric shape related to that, and it was solidified, and it just looked pure, very clear, and it looked really good. And then when you got into those lower negative vibrational frequencies, it was broken. It was even discolored,
Yeah,
right?
that's
So
so crazy.
now you tie this into us being 70 to 75% water based.
Mhm.
So now how does that emotional energy that we are carrying or being projected from others or putting onto other people, how does that affect our bodies? What does that do to us? How does that solidify or break us down? How does that create disease within us? So we really are affecting the very health in our bodies,
Yeah.
which is why something like meditation or the different energy practices that are available that you can get into to kind of help that inner sense.
Right?
Yeah, you're getting into a way where you can disconnect from that negative energy and now empower yourself to a more loving, compassionate energy, which then affects your whole health in your body. It affects, again, that vibrational frequency, that's coming in.
That really makes me think of that quote that says, to change the world, start with yourself, kind of a quote like that. And like
be the change you want to see in the world.
Be the change you want to see in the world, because like you were saying, just give love. When you start to give love, imagine that we're all 75% water, like he said, and you just start giving love to people. You're like, hey, but
Right.
I hope you're having a great day. I was really happy to be in this room with you today. It made my day. Just anything positive, even if people think you're corny or cringy or too nice. And just realize that you're giving love. And you are maybe starting to affect the molecules in their water body. And you kind of can start to see just the world being a better place just by giving love and kindness. No matter how cheesy that might sound to people,
Right, yeah.
it's scientifically proven.
You do want to be a little bit aware that, you are kind of opening yourself up to those different energies though too. So when you do that, so like you walk up to somebody and you're like, hey, I love you or whatever, and then they're like, man, fuck off, you know what I'm saying? My bad. They're like,
We're censored now.
It's all right.
We're getting kicked off.
I just watched a weird
Chalk it
YouTube
up.
video today where this guy was going up to people and this guy was going up to random guys and saying, like, where do you work out at? Nice butt, And some of them were just, pissed. It just reminded me of that. But some were like, oh, thank you, you too. But it's really funny.
It can alter your energy though if you take on that energy. So if they say something, rude to you back, then you may start getting feel a certain way about it.
But that's when you got to be able to let it
That's
roll
when
off.
you have to
Yeah,
have
too.
those boundaries, though.
Mhm.
That's where you have to choose your feelings. So let's
Yeah.
say you do come up to me in the street and I'm like, get the fuck away from me. Just like,
Yeah.
why are you talking to me?
We need a beep
Like,
sensor
how
there.
are you going to let that affect you? Sorry.
It's all good. Just keeping it real. Just keeping it real.
How are you
man.
going to let that affect you? So you choose right there. Are you going to let the way that I just talked to you, affect your energy?
Mhm.
You have to have that boundary there kind of and start working on that to where if I say something rude to you, you can go on about your day and still give love and still kind of, don't carry it with you. You have to make that choice to say ooh, that's her. That is not me.
Exactly.
Don't take it personally in a way.
Right,
Because
don't-
that's that person. That
Yeah.
person was crazy. You didn't do anything wrong.
And that's exactly it. Don't take it personal because it ain't about you.
Yeah.
So you tell somebody I love you and they tell you F you, right? Was that because you said that, or maybe they had a bad day that day?
They already
maybe
had something else going
They
on.
had something else. That
Maybe.
nothing that they're reacting to against you. It ain't you. I don't care how much they try and make it about you.
Mhm.
They're only able to do that if you allow that.
Yeah.
This is about a choice. You have the freedom of choice. That is one of the things that we get to live in this life is how do I choose to react to things? It's not a matter of what happens to you in your life, it's how you react to what happens to you in your life. That's the empowerment. So when you begin to step away from that and you stop taking everything so personal, and again, when you empower that self-love inside, he can say that to you, or he or she can say that to you, and you're going to be like, that's okay, because I love myself, and that doesn't affect me, and whatever's going on with them, I'm sorry. Hopefully that love that I just sent them is going to sink in later, and they're going to be like, man, I was kind of a jerk to them. I shouldn't have probably said, but how nice of them to do that, because I guarantee that's going to shift something within them that day. And I think to kind of tie back into what you're saying about being aware of that energy and how it affects you, you were talking about the other kind of spiritual realm, we'll call it, that other kind of reality that's out there as well is, when those attachments that you're talking about, that is about your vibrational match. So again, as you raise your own vibration, as you get into that higher vibrational frequency, those things aren't going to show up to you.
Yeah.
They can't affect you because you are not a match for that frequency. Now, like you say, if you're going to hold into that and you're going to be that negative or you're going to carry that self-lack or whatever, then yeah, they're going to be around more often, whether you know it or not, and they're going to help to increase and feed off of that negative energy. But what's really great about this is at any moment you can make a choice to change that And no longer are they going to be able to reside or feed off of you, because again, you have that choice.
Yeah.
You know,
I
those.
love that about New Age spirituality.
Yes.
It is very personal responsibility orientated, like taking control of your life and taking responsibility for your reactions. I believe New Age spirituality is on point with that, whereas other religions might, like it's not a religion, it's actually spirituality, and you're in charge of your own destiny and the choices that you make, whereas some religions might be saying, you know, the devil made you do it, or
Right.
stuff like that.
Passing responsibility
or like,
onto something else, some other kind of dark
maybe
entity.
it just wasn't God's plan for you.
Mhm.
And it's kind of like New Age spirituality and just really trusting the universe is saying, like, is being accountable for your actions.
Yeah, and there's nothing to say. You know, spirituality is found in many forms.
Yeah,
And
and
I don't
it's
have any.
spirituality
I
too,
grew up,
right?
like I say, I grew up in a church, based background, and on that level, like if you find spirituality there, if you find love and compassion there, man, I holistically support that. Find it where you need to find that, because that's what's important, is connecting to that spirituality. Me personally, I like to open myself up to all forms of spirituality. I don't want put any walls up or anything that says that I can't think or feel a specific way, because I'm in charge of my feelings.
Mhm.
You know, if I meet somebody from, if I meet several people from several different religions, I want to feel the love and understanding from all of that. Because they all, when you really get down to it, what's the base message from every one of those? Love, man. It's all about
absolutely.
love. Love is what is that deep connection to all of those. And anything that, if there is any message or anything that you learn that does not reside in that, then there should be questions asked. There
Okay.
should be something that you should say first. Just take a minute to go, okay, hold on a minute. I'm not sure I agree with that. There's judgment being passed on other people.
Like if you have a preacher or a guru who is like pushing their own political agenda, for example, or something like that, like it should always be about love and light. Even like if you are listening to an Islamic prayer, you can listen to it, you can hear the spirituality and the beauty, and there is nothing evil in that. You know, it is actually so enlightening to sit there and listen to a prayer or a song for an hour. Or it's another form of meditation for me sometimes. And
There's a lot of really beautiful ancient knowledge that is written throughout the text. We're talking thousands of years
Oh,
old
yeah.
that come from
100%.
all of these, spiritual religious practices. I do feel myself connected and drawn to some more specifically, but I would never associate myself completely that way, because I find it in so many different ways. Again, I'm about like
limiting.
finding that truth and what resonates with me, right? This is the term we're all kind of starting to use, resonation. Resonation is a term of frequency and vibration, right? This is really what resonates with me. What truth am I hearing?
I always
that
look at
raises
them
me.
as all different schools of thought. So,
Yeah.
the Christianity, like you said, Muslim, they're all just different schools of thought. And unfortunately, they've all been used in a manipulative way to do negative. So everything that, for example, everything that ISIS they did in the name of Islam, and all that, and everything that the Ku Klux Klan did was in the name of Jesus. So, and then on the other side of that, they're all being used for good as well, hopefully, and there's people out there that
There are people that get saved in these ways.
they connect, like you said, it resonates with them, and they're able to receive that message and lead a positive light, and that's what we're all really trying to do, right? Is just become a better version of ourselves. And if you do that through any different school of thought, Buddhism, whatever it is, then do what you need to do.
Absolutely.
Like that's what it's there for.
like I definitely respect anybody trying to just become a better version of themselves, no matter what method they're really using, as long as, as somebody who is a good person, like it doesn't have to do with being perfect. You don't have to be perfect to be accepted and be spiritual.
There is a bit of perfection and imperfection, right? Because the universe doesn't make mistakes. The reason things are the way they are the imperfections that are there, because it's a way to make you reflect and look onto yourself a little bit. It's the way to raise your own consciousness or find your own healing. You have to find contrast in your life. You have to be challenged, and that's in every aspect of your life. If you're in a relationship and everything is literally just perfect and there's never any challenge, not to say that some people don't have that, but that isn't. You got to have even a little bit of challenge as a way
I feel
to
like
grow.
that's just not reality.
Well,
like,
you know,
you're not really living in the present moment if you don't have any challenges.
right.
Like you're kind of that'd be a good way to actually bring up something
Right.
like spiritual escapism. You do have to balance your spirituality with reality. You can't just check out. Like you do have to be there, and you do have to deal with challenges.
Oh,
and
so like,
conflict.
I'm living in the spirit world, and I don't, I'm not going to work no more. I'm not.
Right, you're
yeah,
like
yeah.
the universe is gonna
I don't
bring
have
me
to
money,
vote
and
or,
I'm not gonna
or-
do anything.
Right.
Or just that everything is,
Yeah.
it's only love and light. That's all I allow in my world.
Absolutely.
And look, I do want that, and that's what I
Impossible.
am in control of in my own reality. But again, that's my choice of how I react to those things.
I had a
What do I put into that, right? Like whether it's negative or not. But you have to, in order to heal, if we want to heal not just ourselves, but we want to heal our world.
Right.
We have to face the darkness too.
You can't
You have to get in.
You
and
can't ignore
send
the
it.
hard stuff.
How are you going to send love and light and energy or a loving, healing sense into those things if you don't know what they are?
Right.
Face
And I
it,
was
man.
telling you yesterday that I had like a spiritual mentor like a year ago. I had like a spiritual business mentor, and she definitely encouraged everybody to forget about politics and to like vibe higher than politics in
Agendas,
general.
yeah.
And it's kind of okay, yeah, you can vibe higher than like choosing a political party and not thinking for yourself, but that's not what she meant. She literally meant like
She doesn't want to deal with it at all.
yeah, like just forget about it. Don't post about it on Facebook. Act like it doesn't exist, and like it'll kind of go away. Like everything else she said was pretty legit, but this is where I was like, wait, am I blindly following some person who's literally telling me to forget about politics? Like that must be such a privilege to be able to not have to worry about your rights being taken away by voting for the wrong person. Politics are absolutely necessary and a part of our reality today, and by avoiding them, we're not getting anywhere in reality. You can't just meditate off into
Hey, unless we move to an island, we're gonna live on an island with no government.
still a government would be if you don't
Right.
like the government today, you can't
Somebody's
just
gotta get
ignore
the-
it. You need to
Right.
like actually start
Well,
creating
and
a new one or
be a
something.
part of your
like,
And again, it's
come up
about
with a solution.
global consciousness. It's about global healing, and part of that is healing that within the infrastructure that is already here. Like you say, being so into the spiritual side and not into the grounded side. That's them chakras again. That all comes down to being grounded, and part of that is we are living a human experience.
Yeah.
Connect to that, because that's part of what we're doing. It's not just about getting into the cool woo-woo stuff, and
Right.
being psychic and all that. It's about also living that human experience, connecting to every being on the planet.
I've seen people like use spirituality as a way to like invalidate their partner's emotions by kind of saying like, oh no, I didn't hurt your feelings, you're responsible for that, in a way. And it's like you still need to have compassion and love and know how to interact and relate to people. You can't just, it's a blend, it's a balance.
Don't become a spiritual snob, huh?
Right, yes, a spiritual snob, or like super judgmental, like, oh, that wasn't very spiritual of you. I
Right.
hate it. Like,
Yeah.
I can say I hate that,
Dislike
and it's not
that.
negative. I'm actually, same thing. That's
Yeah.
not like a negative thought.
Right.
You're allowed to dislike something and not be a negative person.
Yeah.
Like, it's
And I seem
frustrating.
to be aware of other people's where they are right now spiritually. So since like, oh, well, I shouldn't be thinking like this, or I should think more positive, or I shouldn't react this type of way, you should also be cognizant of like other people's positions. So
Like a
they
vegan.
may not have that same type of idea. So you gotta
Absolutely.
know,
Like-
they may react a certain way because they're not thinking the same
Don't
way.
judge
I think
him, right?
him and I both study a lot. Like read books about spirituality and studied and learned about it. So how
It's a journey.
horrible would that be, like, to come up with somebody who has no idea and just be like, oh, they are so low vibe. Like, you can't treat people like that. Everybody, and if somebody wants to learn, like, I'm going to talk all day to them about what
You
I've
gotta allow
learned and how
people
it's helped
time to
me.
be ready. They have to be ready for that growth, and
Yeah.
and it's
But
not
don't
just about me
forget
being
about
spiritual
people because
or
they're not
think,
at your level.
well, and
Don't just leave
nobody's
them
better.
behind.
I'm not better than anyone. It doesn't
Right.
matter what I know or don't know. It doesn't matter whether you're the president or I'm just, a normal average person. We literally are all exactly the same. We're all having an experience. It might be different. It's a different perception of life in a way. But it's about getting on the level that we are all one. We are one energy. We are all connected, energetically. And, there's nothing that separates that except us. And the separation, the illusion of separation that has been put over us and programmed in us, that isn't the truth.
Right.
The truth is that we are all connected. And the more that we find, again, that we connect into that love and send that out and find compassion for one another, respect the journeys, like whatever that might look like, no matter where you're at, the more that you connect to that, the more that you recognize that, man, we're all the same, man.
I kind of think everybody's on the same level. People just articulate it and act it out differently, and everybody has different perceptions of the world, and we all kind of speak different languages in a way.
Well,
we all have our own language, and some people understand it, some people don't.
That comes into the religion stuff too. I think a lot of this stuff is all on the same. It's kind of like what you're saying. A lot of religions all focus around love. That's
it's like the heart of
foundation.
the foundation. Mm-hmm.
So, but then they just put different symbology. In my opinion, they just symbolically say stuff a little bit different. So one thing, like what you're talking about earlier. Okay, so you guys, let's say you read a lot of books and you got a lot of technical knowledge and you know the background of a lot of different stuff and whatnot. Whereas somebody else that's never read those type of books, so you come into what you're saying, where you have the intention, and then you also have and also I also believe in visualization. So let's say you believe in the visualization, plus you have the thought of what you want to happen, and then you also have the feeling behind it, so that you can kind of bring this into your life. Well, you might not want to explain that to just everybody because they'll be like, oh, I don't believe in that or whatever. But there's a saying, fake it till you make it, so people will understand that. So you say, let's say somebody wants to be a musician or something, and you're helping them out and they're dancing and stuff, and then you might say, well, let's do a little meditation. You just imagine yourself dancing on the stage. Okay, or they do that in Kung Fu and a lot, they'll do the moves real slow, so it gets to muscle memory and you kind of imagine and you meditate a little bit. But you tell them, you tell that dancer or whatever, just fake it till you make it. That's something simple for them to understand, but they don't know that you don't have to go into the full background of the knowledge all that type of stuff. So yes, and that was just bouncing off of what you were saying,
people can accept things in different ways.
I'll tell you that I only started
yeah.
studying the scientific proof behind it because I lacked faith. Not to be an arrogant, I read all the books type person, but because I lacked faith in what I was feeling. I lacked faith the day I meditated, and I was like, holy crap, it wasn't the first day, it was actually 4 or 5 meditations in, that I felt like a fog was lifted from me, and it was almost like I had HD vision, I was seeing things just completely different. I felt very just, I don't know, light, enlightened, kind of like he was describing.
Validate, right?
I was able to step out of my emotions in a way and kind of just observe and be objective, in my interactions with people, in a good way. And I was like, what is this? There's no, I kind of started studying it because I doubted what I was feeling. I lacked faith. And I was like, okay, well, I want to be able to explain this in the future. I want to be able to know this. And it's crazy because when it came down to it, none of the books helped me as much as actually documenting my own experiences and my own feelings. So you can be extremely spiritual and never attend any kind of church, never read a single book about spirituality. It's within, at the end of the day, it's inside yourself. People just kind of teach you how to practice it.
Well, 2 things I want to say with that. So, one thing with certain people, let's say Christianity, they'll do prayers, but then they'll say voodoo is bad or whatever, but it's the same type of concept. Or they'll say oh, I don't believe in visualization, meditation.
It's the
when
intention.
you're praying, you just, you got that intention behind it, and then you believe in Christ, let's say, and then that's the reason that stuff may get attracted to you. And then you said something else, but I forgot.
Well, I would I would bounce off of what you were saying earlier about, you were using the visualization technique. So Dr. Joe Dispenza, he's fantastic. He's neurologist. He's written tons of books. I recommend everybody check his stuff out. He's fascinating. He gets into the science behind it. He's been spending the last 30 years trying to demystify this and make this into a reality. Mm-hmm. And one of the studies that he puts together, the things that he talks about, so the way you kind of empower your, manifesting what it is that you want is seeing yourself there. Now, what he expands on this is that what happens is you say you want to be a musician and you want to see yourself, really playing for big crowds. It's not just about the visualization. It's about having the experience.
Yep.
Get into that state of mind where you are experiencing literally that exact moment and continue to practice that, having that experience. And what happens is your brain, it doesn't know the difference between past, present, and future. It's always in the present. So as you begin to have that experience, it actually sends out the chemical responses in your body to begin to feel and make that connection to that experience. And then what happens is you start to lead into that. You're starting to meet the people you need to meet, because energetically and as that law of attraction starts to work for you, it's bringing all that stuff forward because it's matching that exact all of the chemicals and energy that you already have had and held within your body. Mm-hmm. So you can literally bring forth what you want into your life. And just to kind of give kind of an example from Joe got into a really, and you can watch him talk about it in more detail, but he was in a triathlon and he got hit by a car, and he had a lot of vertebrae broken, and what started him on this path was he knew he was either going to have surgery, or he actually started getting into the idea that he could heal his own body and worked hard at it. Started visualizing his body repairing itself. After 10 weeks, the guy was walking out of the hospital with no pain meds. In 12 weeks, he was training again. And that seems unheard of.
Deepak Chopra, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, actually
Mm-hmm.
has a book called Quantum Healing that goes into that in a lot more depth, kind of like how people have healed themselves and documentations of it. And then I also think about what he's saying, about the musician thing. There's an author named Danielle Laportier, and she kind of makes day planners and stuff like that, but she really, when I was having trouble at first understanding the law of attraction in a way that would really resonate with me, her book really helped me because she really narrowed it down to what you want to experience while you're visualizing is that feeling. How do you want to feel when you actually manifest what you want? If you want to be a musician, how are you going to feel standing out there in a crowd of 20,000 people if that's your goal?
Well,
what is that feeling? Can you feel it while you're meditating?
I want to explain. So I think it's
it.
that thought plus a combination of what he's saying. You also want to be there. So you want to
Mm-hmm.
think about what you're going to smell, what you're going to be hearing.
Yes.
So you want to fully immerse yourself into it.
Exactly.
And keep on doing that like a mantra.
Well, Michael Jordan did that. He said every time he got on an airplane, he would sit there and visualize himself at the free throw line, shooting free throws. And over time, he had a great, clutch free throw percentage,
Mm-hmm.
and he accredited that to his visualization that he used.
There's tons of stories of with a lot of people in Hollywood manifesting that reality. Jim Carrey, he wrote himself a check for $5,000, and he dated it for November, I think 25th or something. And again, that's something you can definitely look up. But and it was, at the time, he was still he's getting into acting, he was doing a lot of stand-up, but it wasn't quite there yet. And then literally to almost the day, he got a call saying they made him the offer to do Dumb and Dumber, I think it was.
Yeah, Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah, and then that was going to give him that amount of money. He manifested that into his life. He had to believe it so much that he wrote himself that check.
And you still got to work at it too. Some people would think, okay, I'm just gonna write myself a check.
Oh yeah, you got to do the work. Yeah.
Kick back on the couch.
And I just gotta keep thinking
Right.
about it, but you do gotta take the effort. So you gotta go to
I
the
was just
practices
thinking
and
that.
go perform.
Well, and things are
do all
going to
that.
come to you. Take action.
Yeah.
When something comes to you, an inspiration. Hey, I think this is maybe something that'll help support me in that. Well, if you just walk away from that, now it's okay because I already wrote down in my journal that this is going to happen.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
You
You
have to
still
allow
are
and receive.
right. You're still the
Follow.
creator.
Follow your
So
opportunities.
yeah.
There are people who will tell you, no, literally all you have to do is write the check and visualize, and it'll come to you if you truly believe it. But it's not in our DNA, it's not in our neural pathways to truly believe that. We were all taught, it's a generational thing, that we have to work to get something we want. So,
It
come
may
on, none
take
of us
longer,
believe
so-
it's just going to happen. Very few of us believe if we purchase a lottery ticket, it's going to happen. So instead of changing like working hard to change those beliefs to attract that. What we would actually have to do is work for it.
Yeah.
Because that's how most of us function in reality.
And you would want to be careful. So if you just did the visualization, I mean, you can get hurt. I think you get a settlement, insurance settlement or something, you know.
Right,
So
you
now
have to
you
be
got
specific.
the money, but then you all hurt.
How do you want $25,000?
So, yeah,
Exactly.
Be careful with that.
Set your intention. How are you gonna get there?
Right.
Yeah.
Because
set
and that's
intention.
the same thing. Like, and they would tell me that. I went for personal training a couple times, and I was like, I want to lose weight. And he's like, well, you know, if I cut off your legs, you're gonna lose like 40 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, fine. He's like, so what are you gonna do? Where do you want to lose weight? Do you want to get in shape? Like, what is it? Be specific. And I'm like, okay, I need to set all my goals this way. And that's before law of attraction, but that's basically what he was telling me was how to attract what I want.
So we talked a lot about opening those chakras and receiving and things like that. I know that James is doing a 180-day challenge. Could you tell us a little bit about some of the things that you have included in your 180-day challenge and maybe how other people can start their own or be a part of that challenge at Center Me?
Yep. So there's 3 of us actually that are available at Center Me. There's myself, but there's also Liz Hoyt, who's my partner and girlfriend that's in this project, and then we recently brought on Claudia Morales. And Claudia's the one that actually brought this idea to us, so that we can kind of have a little bit of accountability. So there are a lot of things you can do to help assist in kind of lightening your load, we'll say, lightening that energy and holding that higher, kind of vibrational state to kind of empower you a bit more in your life. So one of those things, and it's something that I had worked on a little bit in the beginning, and then as my own kind of my own personal work came through, I kind of had to work on that, and then now I'm trying to come back to that because I got a sense of what that feels like to have that. One of those, we call it like a daily spiritual practice. So as part of that, it would be meditation daily. Is something I want to get involved in, and we're also going to do like yoga. So now I don't have a lot of yoga background, so I'm not like somebody who's like a yoga expert in any way. But what I had done in the past was do like a little 15 to 20 minute yoga quick flow, and then do a nice 15 to 20 minute meditation afterwards. And I started my day that way, and it really shifted the whole day for me. It helped to really allow me to bring in more positivity, focus on that stuff in my day. I had more control on that emotional reaction. So that's one part of it. Another big part of it for me is diet. Food plays a big part in our body's energy and also emotional energies, because there's a lot of chemicals and things that are going off depending on what you're eating, and there are higher vibrational foods. For me, something that really assists me and that I've noticed is a more plant-based diet. Now, I love fish, and occasionally I do eat chicken, and I think that's fine, wherever you're at and where you're comfortable, but pay attention and tune into your body and see like what your body tells you when you eat something. How do I feel when I eat that? So, and the thing that's interesting about plants is plants get their energy from the sun, which is light energy. We're light beings. So as I take in that plant food, more of that plant-based energy, I'm now taking in more sunlight, more sun energy, which is there to naturally fuel me. So that'll help to heal me as well. I'm a big, I would say my biggest addiction in life is sugar. And it's, it seems so underplayed, it's so underwhelming. People really need to recognize the epidemic of sugar. Unnatural sugar, let's be more specific. Unnatural sugar, how that really weighs you down, what that really plagues you with, how dependent you are on that, which your body doesn't really need, how unnecessary it is. So I'm working, that's a big one for me. In the next 180 days, I'm trying to, hopefully by the end, and again, I'm being forgiving of myself, if I have a cheat day or whatever, but then coming back to that, and by the end of this, I want to really let go of my attachment to sugar.
So will you be, I'm sorry to
No,
cut
go
you
ahead.
off, so will you be just cutting out processed sugar, but still like allowing yourself to eat fruit and stuff like that?
Absolutely.
And carbs, like healthy carbs like brown rice?
Yeah.
Or, so you're just cutting out like candy cake, well, there's even processed sugar and
There's
things
sugar
like
in
ketchup.
everything.
Yeah,
Yes.
so are you taking out processed sugar, but you're not worrying about sugar that comes from things that are grown naturally? Like
Absolutely.
fruit or rice
There's a
or-
lot of natural sweeteners. Honey is one of probably the best natural sweeteners that you
Right,
can
I'm down
put
for
in
that.
anything. Get in to honey, and pay attention to your honey, because there's something that people don't realize. We just kind of learned this the other day, is there is diluted honey. I can't think of the term that they use, but what they, there's a lot of honey that's been imported in, and it comes in and it's purposefully diluted so that they can make more of it and sell more of it. And there's all kinds of ways that they've used to try and still get that in and get that imported in, and it's not pure honey.
So you're looking for something that says 100% pure honey, or
look for your local honey. There's a couple reasons for that. You want local, natural honey. For one, you want to support your local, bee. What do they call those? Your
manufacturer.
Yeah, but your beekeepers. Yeah. I know I'm trying to think of the terms, but yeah, you want to support that, which is really important. But also because local honey, when you take it on a daily. Local honey, you're also helping those allergens, because you become more used to those allergens that are in the air, because the bees are putting that in the pollination when they're putting that in the honey. So that's something that's used. Honey has so many properties that are very healing and help your immune system. And that's another thing, just kind of on a side note to be aware of. We need to support the bees, right? There is something that's been going on where the bees are dying off. We're not getting as much honey, and that is huge to our life cycle. They are a huge impact in our life. So, but that's just kind of come bring it back. But that's a natural.
To the plants and all that stuff that they pollinate. Is that what?
Oh, a lot of it. If you look into the why it's important to have bees, in our what do they call that?
Ecosystem.
In our ecosystem. Why it's important, because they are a huge. If we lose the bees and we don't have that in there, that's going to impact our world greatly.
Man, I just want to shout out to the companies that have the bee comb, like it's actually the honeycomb.
Yeah, that stuff's so
good.
It's like raw organic honey is what that is, and that's actually really
crucial. The Arabic store, they have like.
Mm-hmm. It's all over. You can find it. You can definitely
have
a brand.
I found it because there was like a big honeycomb inside of it.
I don't.
Honeycomb?
Yeah, I like it. It's good.
I don't have a specific brand.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot out there. Hy-Vee's got organic sections. Support the organic side of things. There's a reason for that, and a lot of it comes to energy as well, just being aware of what you're intaking in your body. So, but yeah, that's a really great sweetener. I highly recommend that. There's other stuff like stevia and whatnot, and you can test with those.
Agave?
Agave is also a really, really important one too. So just kind of pay attention to that. Get away from those unnatural sugars.
Or even like unnatural sweeteners.
Yeah, anything. I don't really like anything genetically modified.
And diet Cokes and all that type of stuff.
Oh, those are huge.
Absolutely.
Sugar does, the toxicity that you get from that, it does a lot against your body, but it does a lot for your mental body too, where a lot of the stores, it affects you. It affects your ability to connect to those higher energies. It's there for a reason. It's
like
doing
water
that for
too, right?
Isn't it considered? I know aspartame is a neurotoxin. I know fluoride is a neurotoxin.
Yep.
I think they're starting to look at sugar as a neurotoxin.
So,
like, it's literally doling down your neural pathways.
If you got kids, you know that sugar's a neurotoxin.
Oh, it makes them crazy.
Absolutely.
Oh, I know. Trust me, my daughter does
It might
not.
not be categorized as one yet, technically, by the FDA, but we all know how that works.
So when you
Some of
eat
us
sugar,
do.
sugar releases the same. I think is it dopamines? It's the same thing that cocaine does to your brain. Think about that for a minute.
Well,
Think about how serious that is.
I heard even crack is sugar. It's just that it's a different, it's modified, so it looks different. But essentially when you break down the chemicals that are in it or whatever, the chemical makeup, it's just sugar.
Yep.
Pretty much. So
It is,
that's
and
why
that
it's so
It's the booger sugar.
Right. So again, this is a big one for me. For me, it's a big one because I've gone off and on and off of it, and it's been a lifetime addiction.
Sugar?
I
Are you
love
talking about
cookies.
sugar?
Yeah, I love
Okay.
all that stuff. Not crack.
Not crack, but
It's not funny. They're both extremely
it's-
addicting.
I should probably clarify that's not for me.
Okay,
I mean, I've had my bout with stuff. but
Sugar
anyway.
is like as addicting as crack, if not more. You just happen to be able to function until you can't, until you have so much muscle pain or inflammation. Like I watched my mom go through that from sugar addiction, I would say.
diabetes.
Diabetes.
Yeah,
I've
huge,
started to develop like hypoglycemia issues where if I have low blood sugar, like I've fainted a couple times, but it's not from it says low blood sugar, but basically what happened is I ate so much sugar that I had a crash and went down on the floor in the middle of Quick Trip. Like, if it's doing that to people's bodies, like, you need to be careful. Like, he's right.
Well, and there's a lot of
careful.
things you can do to detox. Something I've been working with a lot, and I'm not saying everybody should do it, but if you look in, there's a lot of benefits in your body. But I fast. I've been fasting. So once I started looking into this, fasting has some major benefits to your body. In a 72-hour period, if you fast on just water, suggested distilled water, so there's nothing extra in your water, you will actually completely rehabilitate your immune system. It fully gives 100% recovery to your immune system in 72 hours.
The body's self-healing, isn't it?
It
You know,
is
like,
100% it's meant to heal
if
itself.
you give it a chance to.
Right. Well, and the idea that we can't heal, that's given to us.
I want to add one note to that too. Alkaline water. So that's the water that's like pH 8.5 and above, or maybe it's 8 and above. But what I've heard is you fast for 72 hours plus drink alkaline water if you have any type of cancerous type of stuff going on or whatever, because the cancerous cells can't survive in a highly base or alkaline environment. Like, they need the acid, they need soda, and all those sugars and stuff like that. So if you fast, that clears out your body of like all the food and toxins, and then that alkaline water just makes it more of a base or whatever. Alkaline environment.
The
It cuts out
pH.
the cancerous.
So
pH level
that's
too.
exactly right. So what basically happens after 72 hours, based on what I've found on this information, is that it goes into a ketogenic state. So it's burned through all that sugar, it's burned through all the stuff that it needs to burn through, it's digesting. If you're on just that water diet, it no longer digests. So now your energy levels go from all of this stuff that it's trying to break down in your body, and now it can go into a healing state. And part of that is, I believe it's called effigy, and I could be wrong, but I believe it's called effigy. And what that actually does for you is it begins to go through and find all the dead cells, the cancer cells, anything that is not of use for your body, and it flushes those out. It goes into dead tissues. It flushes out those dead tissues. You get a big flush. So it goes into a heightened healing state. Yeah. So they've done studies with this. There's a study where they had women who had Parkinson's go on a 21-day fast, and after the first month, their tremors went away. And after a full year, they were able to cure the disease. And this is stuff you can kind of go out and research, for yourself. But I find that fascinating. There's been all kinds of studies. Now, I'm not saying everybody should go on a 21-day fast. Yeah. I mean, find out what you need, check with your doctor, whatever underlying issues. I'm not telling you to go do this as a way to cure yourself, but look into it. Find out, allow your body to do what it's naturally meant to do. And when you kind of take this back into, into more of a, the older civilizations, more of the ancient times, they did this a lot. It's known as spiritual practices, and there's all kinds of things that we've done in the history. Why is it that way? Naturally, we would do this kind of, what they call it, feast and famine, right? And because it heals the body, and then you get back in, and then you're getting back to this, that higher state of balance, balanced diet and whatnot. So, but kind of tie this back to that 180 days. So that's a big part, diet. Find out, make an awareness around that. The other stuff that I wanted to focus on in this 180-day challenge is journaling is a big one, because journaling is very, very helping. I did that a whole lot in the beginning. I haven't done it much lately. And, journaling sounds, you're like, well, how can that really help me? But again, everything is energy. So however I put out there, whatever I'm journaling down, I can put it, I'm also creating in a way where I'm letting go of whatever it is that I need to let go. Sometimes I have a bad day, I need to write that out. But I also start my day with, okay, I'm going to have a good day today. This is what's going to happen. Now I'm making that connection in my brain to have a positive day. So I'm now training myself to actually start to think and act in a way that is now in alignment with the highest, good of what I want in my life. So that's a big one. And I want to focus a lot on self-love. Self-love is important for me. That's something I know deeply in my life that I have worked really hard to build. I lacked a lot of it, and I want to do things that help to support that, because again, that empowers me to be a better person, right? So some of those might be, and we come in as a group, and we're going to stand up and say something good about yourself, right? Because we don't do enough of that. We don't say and hold ourselves in that high love, that high vibration enough. So we're going to do that. Write things good out there, about yourself. Whatever it is that you need to do to kind of help improve that self-awareness and really increase the love that you have for yourself. Because the more love you have for yourself, the more you have to give to other people. So I think there might be some other stuff on the list, but that's kind of the gist of it. So we're going to try and do this for the next 180 days. And
Do you think you're going to have like a Facebook group like where other people can come and join the challenge?
Yep, we're working on, I think kind of this idea came up. We're supposed to be starting here on the 1st of November. And again, it's all about like allowing yourself that space and for, to get there. Does it mean I'm going to drastically change everything in my life overnight? No. That is not setting the right expectation. The right expectation is putting the right things in action and moving, and then holding myself a little accountable to continue to do that practice and then get better at it as I go.
One thing is kind of an accountability or a support group.
Mm-hmm.
So I also want to mention, she asked if there's a Facebook group.
Yep.
Well, we do have the Conscious Crew Collective Facebook group.
Absolutely.
That we got a group of good folks, that are working, trying to better themselves and always posting enlightening information and uplifting information. You can also find out about things that are going on with me, this podcast, with the Center Me. We've been connected on there as well with the events and things that they have coming up. So again, Conscious Crew Collective on Facebook is a good place to find out about this challenge too. I'm sure that there's already been people that kind of been talking about what they're doing.
I saw quite a
and
few
things
like
that.
astrology posts on there, like people were just having like very open discussions about things. It's very
So yeah, it gets you in tune with what other people are doing and spark that thought. Everything starts with a thought.
Support, man. Let's support each other. And I know one thing we're thinking of doing more often too is we're gonna have more live videos as well through Center Me.
Cool.
We want to do some Facebook lives, and I think we're gonna, I'm definitely feeling like we're gonna implement that more, probably even related to this 180-day challenge.
Right.
So it's something that we want to share, and now that I'm seeing that there's definitely a lot more people that want to pull in on this, it's something we're gonna work on this week and probably discuss a little bit more and see how we can maybe open it up to, see how many people want to jump in and join in on it. And obviously anybody can join in at any time, even if we've already started and you just want to jump in and it's been 30 days or whatever and you're going to do 150 days, set that, whatever you're comfortable with, set an expectation that you feel good with. But one thing I can guarantee, if you put just a few of these things in motion, and I would say most importantly, those three things that I probably stated, which would be the meditation on some level, whether it's sit meditation, yoga meditation, walking meditation, washing your dishes and meditation, whatever it is that you can find to kind of get that quiet moment, that diet on some level, and then that self-love. I guarantee your life is going to be different at the end of it. Whether it's a 30-day challenge, whether it's a 60-day challenge, whether it's a 180-day challenge, you are going to shift something within yourself, and you're going to find you're getting more control in your life. And it's amazing how much better you feel. Your relationships are going to change, with everyone. That's the biggest thing that I noticed. I mean, my relationship with my daughter changed immediately as soon as I shifted that in myself. She teaches me stuff all the time. She's constantly trying to teach me patience,
Sure.
And she's the greatest thing in my life, man. And it doesn't matter. I just have to recognize sometimes that's what I need to learn right now. That's what I'm trying to work on.
Well, man, this has been awesome
Right.
awesome podcast. It's been amazing. We're a little longer than I thought we were going to be, but it's been worth it, and hopefully people find value in listening to this, because I know I've received a lot of value from being here today.
Mm-hmm.
So a couple things I wanted to close out with was so Center Me just opened up yesterday. Like I said, I had my sound and Reiki session last week with you, and like I said, every time it just feels like a burden lifted, just being able to relax, and the space is awesome, man. Walking in there, it's just a good energy, a nice space there.
Yeah, your space was like
in West Des
amazing.
Moines.
Thank you.
You can feel the energy as soon as you walk in.
Yeah.
Thank you. There's been a lot of love put into that space, and I've asked that everybody that walks through there just feel some form of peace, feel a little bit more love, and come in and just what you need you will get. We got a lot of different things that we do there. Just to kind of recap again what we can provide as a service there.
Sure.
We've got Reiki and sound healing. We've got cupping, which can be combined also with Reiki and sound. We've got Reiki and light therapy. The light therapy, I got to test that out a little bit. That's extremely well. I love how that feels. And just come in and get more information as to what that involves. And we've also we're going to be bringing in here in mid-December, we've got a vibrational acoustic table, which is some really, really amazing healing that we can provide through that as well.
They had to make that, or are they getting it?
Yeah, it's being custom made right now through Inner Solutions. If you want to find it, it's the liquid table. It's just phenomenal. The guy that makes it has a lot of wonderful intentions. I love that. I had a great conversation with him. But also on the other side, what I'm going to have beginner meditation classes. I'm going to work on building meditation groups. We're going to have any kind of workshop and educational classes that we can bring in, whether it's essential oils or whether it's law of attraction, whatever we can do to help empower people and connect to that information. I'm going to do video nights. I'm going to set that up, be on the lookout for all this to be updated, but I want to have videos that are supportive of all of the same stuff that we talked about today on the empowerment and just understanding energy and frequency and all that good stuff. But I also want to do, I'm going to have a disclosure night. I'm going to call it Red Pill Night. And that's just a way to kind of get information about a lot of things that are going on that you may not know. There's a lot of wonderful and interesting stuff out there. And I'm into, like I said, a whole lot of wonderful topics. So
Right. So all the conspiracy or theories that are out there.
The truth.
Oh yeah, I like to say it.
Yeah.
I would call it more.
Some things you
true.
take,
Investigate
some things you
everybody's
take,
personal
and
picture.
you're ready for it, and some things,
Oh,
I don't
absolutely.
know. But it's
Well,
Take
Or
away
you
from
take
it
the red
whatever you
pill.
want, man. There's all stuff, anything from ufology to, I love learning about, one specific topic, secret space program. I love it. Like I say, take away from it what you want. No expectations on any of it. Sometimes it's just fun to listen and learn. So,
right.
just definitely we want to encourage everybody to come in. I want to thank, Marty so much for bringing me in on this and
Yeah.
for
Thank you,
coming and
Marty.
joining us on this
Yeah, it's
journey.
been
And this
awesome.
is just really
Appreciate you guys
Thank you.
coming.
fantastic, man. I appreciate everything that
Yeah.
you're doing on this consciousness, elevation that you're bringing
Movement,
to
yeah, it's
everybody. So.
Okay, awesome. So again, man, I'm excited for the workshops that are coming. You can again find them. Center Me. We'll have a link in the description below, but also you can find them on Facebook. You guys are. What's your address there? If people want to stop by.
Our
your
address
hours?
is 6750 Westtown Parkway, Suite 135, West Des Moines, 50266. All of which is on our Facebook page. It's I believe it's under Center Me Now on the Facebook page, but if you pull up Center Me, it should pull up as well.
We'll have a link down below.
Yep. And then our website is centermenow.com, and that has a bunch of information on there as well as services we provide. That is going to get a nice overhaul here coming up over the next week. We're planning on doing a lot of calendar filling and bringing in as much as we can, just anything that's supportive of everything like we talked about today, anything that's
Right.
going to help assist in that. So just stay tuned on that. On
Stay
Facebook.
woke.
Yeah, exactly. Stay woke, man. That's what that's what we want. And if you're not yet, and you find something resonates here, and you're a little curious, come on in. It's
Yeah,
fine.
that's
Let's help
definitely
you out.
is a space where you can just kind of,
We got a comfortable
check the
couch.
hours
Yeah.
and, and
Oh
come
yeah, and the
in.
hours is right now we have it set for Tuesday through Saturday, 10 to 6. If you want any therapy sessions outside of those, we're available by appointment to set up something outside of that. We will have workshops that go past our open hours as well. We do have two events I know of right now coming up that I'd like to just bring out there.
Sure.
And that is, we have a cacao ceremony coming up on the 15th that's Claudia Morales is going to be holding, and I'm really excited. I've never experienced one of those. I look forward to it. And then on December 6th, we have Rachel Corpus, who is a phenomenal psychic medium. She's been a huge impact on my journey, and I'm really excited to be able to bring her into our space. Extremely loving and gifted person. So, that's something definitely to look out for. We do have limited spots for that right now. So if you're interested in that, definitely go on. We should have that available on our website now if you'd like to sign up for that too. So I think that's all I got
Awesome.
for that. But yeah.
Thank
Cool.
you.
And we'd like to also thank you for being a sponsor for the Conscious Kickback. It's going to be at Vaudeville Muse this time, so it's
Oh,
going to
yeah.
be our 4th Conscious Kickback. A lot of great artists. Midwest Matthews actually gonna be performing there as well.
Cool.
Excited for him to be stepping on stage. And yeah, they came on as a sponsor. I just appreciate all the support that we're getting for these Conscious Kickback events. This one is December 6th at Vat of the Muse. So be sure to go to our event page on Facebook or find us on Eventbrite. You can get your tickets. And we're looking to add some special artists as well. So be sure to get your pre-sale before the price may go up if we land this special guest.
It's like
so our events.
$5 right now, right?
It's $5 to get your
I gotta get
pre-sale
my
ticket.
pre-sale ticket before any
$5.
artists are ad. And
Yeah, yeah.
I was gonna say that our event's at 6:30 and yours starts at like 8 or
Right.
8:30.
So be sure to go to-
I'm gonna go to both. We're definitely gonna show up there. I'm excited to see the consciousness raise in a whole nother aspect of our culture. I've grown up with like hip hop and kind of that poetry that's been brought out, and I love what I've got, but there's definitely there's a shift needed in that, and
Right.
I've seen a few artists, one more specifically it's with your group, and I mean I'm inspired. I love what's coming through on that. It's deep, man. Definitely
Right.
look forward to checking that out.
All right. Cool. Well, again, thanks everyone for coming through. Appreciate you guys for watching. Please feel free to share this video and check out all of our links will be below in the description. Thanks so much. Peace.